David.
Hello, 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 and welcome to Over Coffee, our morning talk show on the Long Island, on the LITT network. That's
Thank
right,
you.
I forgot to say that. My name is Game Master Dave, and I'm here with Rich and John, my co-hosts, and Doug may be popping in any second.
He's
today,
here. Doug's here.
Oh, Doug's here? Okay.
He's been here for like 20 minutes.
Oh, I had no idea. I didn't see him on video.
Oh, my God.
Hello. Today is Monday, the 17th of May in the year of the Apocalypse Plus. Hoping for everybody to go maskless soon. We'll see what happens with that. We'd love to hear from you. Give us some feedback. Give us some comment, share, ideas, whatever you like. You could interact with us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 6:30 in the morning, or watch us later on Twitch or YouTube. What's up, fellas?
What's up?
I got a chance to play 5 games of Welcome to the board game yesterday. That was awesome. So,
yeah?
That's the name of the game, Welcome to?
Welcome to. Well, there's different versions of it. So the one that I played was Welcome to Your Perfect Home. And then there's like a Welcome to Las Vegas and Welcome to some sort of Christmas thing. There's a Christmas themed one, and I think a Halloween themed one. It's a great game. Actually, I taught it, I think, at on the Weekly Word. I think I taught that one. Maybe
that
not.
Was the one. That was the neighborhood one. We had
where
you
set
up your houses and stuff like that. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So I got a chance to play 3 games with Ginger, and then my stepson signed in, and for his birthday, I bought the game for him for his birthday. So he played on Zoom 2 more games. So it was a cool afternoon. And then I watched My Octopus Teacher last night on Netflix. That was really neat. That was a great experience.
Your Octopus Teacher.
That's right.
Very handsy. Very handsy.
I highly recommend that one. It's a great movie, great documentary about a guy that hangs out with octopi.
Octopi.
Mm.
With that many hands.
Yes, my octopi.
My octopi.
Yes.
Yes. Could you make another drink? Shaken, not stirred.
My octopi are very good, very, very good bottlers. Yes, they can make a very, very good old fashioned.
Who knew that Octopus
Ocean.
Teacher would bring this about? Did you guys get a chance to play anything over the weekend?
No,
I tried to do a couple of games myself. But if anybody else wants to jump in first.
No, go ahead, John. I only watched the series on Netflix. I'll get to it when I get to it. Go ahead.
I got back into Minecraft.
Oh no! All right.
We talked about that before the show. Can
we skip that? We skip it.
No.
Minecraft is fun.
Minecraft is fun.
Yeah. So me and Dan, my friend Dan, I mentioned on the show before, we're looking to get into a new game over the weekend or to try something a little bit different. So, because actually the first thing that we did was we played the Dungeons and Dragons arcade game by Capcom, which came out in the 90s. And Dan was actually impressed that a lot of the cool features and stuff that it had. For an arcade title, it was very complex. Like it had branching paths, it had different story elements, leveling up, using different items and combos and stuff. And it's surprising because not a lot of games have used some of those elements since then to such a degree. But also the fact that something so deep existed in arcades. Which is not the kind of place you'd see a game like that. But surprisingly, it never got ported to home systems.
So let me. That was the first and last Dungeons and Dragons video game that was ever any good. Okay. So
excuse me.
When they came out with like Baldur's Gate and stuff like that, they didn't realize what a gold mine they were sitting on, and instead of jumping on the bandwagon when MMOs were super popular, they crashed and burned, and they let games like EverQuest and EVE was first, but EverQuest pretty much was D&D.
Have you heard of Neverwinter?
Yeah, I did. I played Neverwinter, but it never had the following of an MMO. Because one, in order to make it an MMO, you had to code it. You had to host a server.
There is so Rich. There's a MMO.
Yeah,
called
I I understand that there's an MMO now called Neverwinter. It was
It's
never
been out for like
around.
6 or 8 years now.
The MMO craze was dead 6 years ago. We're
It's not
talking
dead.
about when MMOs came out, right? When World of Warcraft first came out.
Okay, so 2006, got it, or five.
Right.
2005.
Right, and it was huge. They were already too late by the time they came out.
Yeah, they had like a really weird one, right? It was a really weird MMO kind of a thing they had. It was an online thing.
Yeah, it was just you never did anything. You couldn't really be with everybody. Yeah, they never ever actually did it. Like, I mean, they owned the IP. All they had to do, all they had to do was make an MMO. Any MMO, they could have used any engine in the world.
Well, let's just see what they. I mean, look at Wizards' most recent debacle.
Neverwinter isn't and never has been as popular as anything else. And why call it Neverwinter and not Neverwinter 2? Because they already had Neverwinter, right? And Neverwinter was a top-down, isometric game.
Yeah.
And
it was good. It was good though.
Can I interject for a second?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
The interesting thing is that the game that I was just talking about was an arcade brawler, and yet when Dungeons and Dragons came out to like home consoles and whatnot, it was mostly just a PC endeavor, and it was all point and click or close enough to the games. There was never like anything that was like a hack and slash or like a top down isometric kind of like almost like a Zelda that took a lot of the stuff that Dungeons and Dragons went with. A lot of them kind of tried to do their own thing, and I'm surprised that D&D never went in that direction.
They did.
Like, we're going to make a gauntlet, but we're going to make it more in depth,
So
they did that on Xbox original, the Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance and Dark Alliance 2, and they actually have a release coming out as well. It's a hack and slash kind of thing.
Well, yeah, they're doing that now.
No, Dark Alliance came out in early 2000s.
I think that's the point, Doug. I think it's is it too little, too late? I mean,
no.
and even Neverwinter. Let's go all the way back to Baldur's Gate and Menzo Baron's
Which Dark Alliance came out in early 2000s on Xbox One.
Okay, all right. I apologize, but I'm talking about like when you go back to Baldur's Gate and Menzo Baron's they were first person games. They were literally MMOs without the MM.
Right.
Yeah. It was like you got 7 discs and it was an ever growing world, and it was like, oh my god, this is great, this is awesome. It would be great if you could just there was a way to keep doing this, and then snap your finger, you got EverQuest and you got EVE Online and you got there was a few others early on too, and then Dark Age of Camelot came, and then all these MMOs hit.
Well,
and Wizards or TSR, whoever it was at the time, never partnered with anybody ever.
Well, you listen. First of all, if it was owned by TSR at the time, you know why. Like, let's be real there.
I get it, but you know what? If they had negotiated their IP with a game engine out there,
yeah, no, it was much bigger now.
It would have put every other MMO to bed just because of their IP.
So, what I'm thinking that they missed the bandwagon on is, I mean, have you heard of Lineage, right?
I've heard of it.
Yeah, Lineage was a pretty decent MMO in like in the late 90s. It was a top-down isometric MMO, and it was not as like widely played as EverQuest, but it was still darn good. Then they came out with Lineage 2 in like mid to late 2000s. And Lineage 2 looked more like Neverwinter's top-down, right, with its 3D, with its 3D physical, physics and everything like that. So where I think in a mixture of you both being right is where they missed the boat is they could have turned, instead of going from Neverwinter to Neverwinter 2, right? Neverwinter 2 should have been more multiplayer, similar to maybe Lineage 2, or even like right now you have Path of Exile.
Yeah, I just looked at the time. I think their timing was off. That's just it. Is their timing was off. So I watched. I apologize for dragging us down that hole, but I watched Love, Death, and Robots. on
Interesting.
Oh
Netflix.
yeah, was that good?
It was hysterical. I mean, some
I
of it
watched
was
the first season. It's pretty good.
yeah, not all of it was comedy, but the ones that were comedy were very funny, and the ones that weren't, they
Alright.
were excellent. I thought. I thought that there was only out of every episode, there was really only one episode where I'm like, okay, I really didn't need to see that one. But they're only 12 minutes long, so it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But they
Yeah.
were really good. It's worth watching.
Yep.
And I
Pretty good.
and I watched what is it, the something save the world or whatever on Netflix? No, something against the robots or something on Netflix. Darn it.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
that
the
Sony animated movie, the Mitchells versus the
Mitchell's
Yeah.
for yeah.
That was pretty good.
Was it? All right. I didn't watch that, but like I threw this on because I started cleaning, and then instead of cleaning, I wound up watching it because it was really funny. The very first one is funny.
That one's actually kind of interesting because that was at first going to be a theatrical thing, and they had rechanged the name. And what I'm guessing, like when they realized that, all right, well, it's probably not going to happen anytime soon of us getting this to a theater, they, I don't know, must have negotiated with Netflix, and Netflix went and changed it back to the original title. I don't know if there's any additional edits that Netflix made, you know what I mean? But that's kind of a strange thing of like,
Are you talking about
hey,
the
we're going
Mitchell?
to actually do this more closer to the original vision than.
Wait, are you talking about the Mitchells, or are you talking
Yeah.
about? Oh, okay. Because I was thinking to myself, I'm like, how could Love, Death, and Robots be a
No,
theatrical
the
thing?
the Mitchells one.
Okay. But yeah, I won't talk about spoilers for 2 weeks. But if you guys get a chance to see it, I would recommend it. It's quick.
Yeah. No, I started Jupiter's Legacy.
You don't see that many animated. You don't see that many animated anthologies, like, or at least not even that, like adult animated anthologies.
It's
Yeah.
a hybridized. It's hybridized.
It is. This one is a mix of all different types of animation.
Yeah.
And I think there's like 2 live action.
Yeah.
So
It's all different directors and storytellers. So it's
yeah, absolutely. It's fun. That's what I have to say. It's fun.
I started Jupiter's Legacy this weekend, and so far I'm loving it. It's like The Boys, but Netflix's version with less teenage angst.
I only saw the first episode, so I will get into that too. That looks
Yeah,
pretty-
definitely.
I liked the first episode. I wasn't sure I was gonna like it, and then all of a sudden I liked it.
Yeah, do it. It's very good. It's very good. And then I played Airsoft both days this weekend, so easy weekend, man. But I did have a question. Did we talk about the new Wizards debacle last week?
No, what's the
What
new
was it,
Wizards
debacle?
debacle?
The one where they decided to cancel all future pro tours and remove the pro tour as an option for people in the Magic the Gathering community. I know you're loving this, but like,
No, I don't think that came up. What brought that about?
so the last pro tour that they held, it had zero, like not even like next to nothing. For a pro tour, it had next to no people there.
Did it happen during 2020 or was it 2019?
No, 2020. Sorry, like wait, let me see, Wizards Pro, because like I read an article about it, and it's canceled. Like it's straight up gone. They're not doing it. They announced in a blog post on May 13th the current Magic Pro League season would be the last, at least in its current state. The publisher is shuttering its top level of organized play for the trading card game Magic the Gathering, but has not yet offered an alternative structure for 2022. It said they are, the season is the current Magic Pro League season will continue as normal with competitors vying for pieces of the $1 million prize pool, but instead of earning a slot in next season's league play, they will qualify for an open placement at the Magic World Championships, and that's it. So they canceled league weekends and the postseason gauntlet events. Let's see, what else did they do? They're going to focus more energy on local and regional tournaments, ostensibly leaning on friendly local games. they're looking to expand more into Commander and Historic and Pioneer, and they're different ones because they really won't be able to. They can't regulate that on a pro level. I don't think it's that easy, so they're going to do it on a local level. But it's
So let me ask
yeah,
you: is it really a debacle, or is it really Wizards trying to patch some holes that they've burned down?
No, it's a debacle because a lot of the pros are just like, what are you doing? It's really, there's zero reason for us to go travel to tournaments anymore. Like you literally stated. So basically, they're going from a world stage, right? And they're going from a place where you're allowing all of your people to travel, going to big tournaments, trying to win, right, and get these invitations to these bigger tournaments, right? And instead of doing that, now you're going to focus more on your localized tournaments, right? Which is great. I think it's great for your localized low play, but
why not just do both?
Well, because they don't want to. I guess the last time there just weren't people there. I guess it was maybe because of COVID related or something else. But it's just not there. They're just like they don't want to. In his estimation, the era of streamers and content creators leaves no room for a path to pro or any model wherein Wizards of the Coast funds the professional lifestyle of highly competitive players. If anything, while the Magic Pro League was clearly intended to serve as marketing for MTG Arena, the league's poor performance juxtaposed with the game's success raised the question of how important pro play is anyway. So they shot themselves in the foot with Arena is what they're doing. They literally went because they changed the model in 2018 with Arena, right?
But you keep saying they shot themselves in the foot, and let me ask some questions. Let me ask some questions this way: how many people are in the pro tournaments?
I mean, there's like 1,000 or something like that, or 50, something like that.
All right, let's call it 1,000. How many? How many? Now, I happen to know from the local people for the non-pro players.
Uh-huh.
The non-pro players always felt intimidated. Always felt they just didn't pay any attention to it because they never had any shot. Now,
right.
If they focus on local tournaments and maybe there's some prize support, because one of the biggest things that the problems that we've always encountered is that the Magic players demanded more and more prize support, and it had to come out of our pockets. So if they start funneling some of that money to support local and regional tournaments, and add surprise support and support for the local game stores, how much more money could they make?
I don't think it's really going to make more money for that. To be honest.
I disagree. I think if you think of the model in and of itself, right, it's a YouTube or a Twitter model.
They've already done that.
All right, it's just a YouTube or a Twitch model, right? It's no longer global. You no longer have to be the global star to make money. You could be a local or regional celebrity and be supported in your lifestyle. And looks like they're just trying to change their model to jump into that arena. Somehow.
Can I also ask a quick question, just to maybe ask for some clarification?
Absolutely not.
Did they say that the numbers for Arena were better than anticipated, or just that they didn't necessarily see a correlation between Arena and the pro players in terms of like numbers?
I'm not 100% sure, but I'm gonna assume based on their most recent numbers with Arena and everything, and how they've been focusing so much on Arena, that that's doing better for them from a marketing perspective than the Magic Pro League was, because the original Pro Tour, right? You had the Pro Tour, that you had the Worlds and everything. It was like everyone was going to these big qualifier events, and they were going to these other qualifier events, and everyone wanted to get qualified. Like that was kind of like the goal. You would go to F&M, test out your stuff. Then every quarter you would try to go to one of the qualifiers, and then you would keep doing that kind of a cycle. And then that was a really good way of filtering your deck, learning your play style, doing all these things. And at that time, some people are intimidated, and that's great. I mean, they're allowed to be intimidated. They can play whatever the way they want. That's why the game is being built the way they want. But I do remember when Empire was around, most of the people there were trying to get in the Pro Tour. That was And most of the people there were trying to go to these big tournaments. So
no, and I understand that, and that was my point. You saw it from that perspective. There was almost nobody that ever came to our stores that was ever trying to do that. And to be honest with you, the couple of people that came to our stores that were like that were people we didn't want in our stores. It was different with Empire because everybody was of the same mindset, right?
right.
So that, I mean, you guys were a competitive Magic store. We were not. And the thing is that like even some of our players, right? We went to Gen Con every year, and some of
Right.
our players entered the Magic tournament. They weren't looking for going going to the next level. They just wanted to go to a bigger tournament. So I just think that I just think it's smarter because look at all the competitive Magic stores. Those are the stores that really don't make any money off of their Magic because of, and we've had this conversation 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Because it just doesn't. It's like gimme, and I don't really care about you.
Oh, I'm talking about it from like the players' perspectives. There's a lot of players that are upset about it because look about it. Look at this, right? You had in sports, right? You have everyone who plays on a local level, right? So you have kids. They play basketball, right? And they're like, listen, I'm never going to be good enough to be Michael Jordan, or I'm never going to be good enough to go to the pros and do this, but I'm still going to play basketball and I'm going to watch the games and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that.
Okay,
now you don't have that.
Okay, so I'm going to counter that. Actually, I'm going to add to that. Every single one of those sports is supported by local and regional versions of those sports, right? So
right.
The ones that are casual, they will fall off if the local and regional. However, those who stick with local and regional, there's more opportunities for them to go. So you could play local and regional, right, and still feel satisfied, still get a trophy, still get, still feel decent, and maybe you don't go on to college, all right? Don't go on to the regional. But and
right.
Can I?
But you still had that in the pro league, and you still had that in their original format.
Because there was never any feel that you were doing anything for it. Sorry, go ahead, John.
The thing I was going to say is that I think you're both actually arguing on the wrong thing, because
that's right. We're arguing on the wrong thing.
No. It's the reason why I asked my question before. I think they're realizing just how successful Magic the Arena is. They're probably marketing everything towards a much more casual play style. And like you said, streamer and Twitch audience, that they're like, hey, look, thank you so much for the free advertising. Not free advertising, say they pay for the tournaments, but I thank you for the advertising. They give us supporting the game. But guess what? You're not our market anymore. The casual audience is. So bye-bye. Have fun. Yeah. It's my argument with Nintendo and the way that they do their business practices. It's the same thing. Wizards is like, hey, John, Arena's doing really great.
Yeah.
We don't need any pro players anymore. Who cares if they've been supporting the game for 30 years?
So,
you're right.
John, you're right. You are right. Doug and
unfortunately, it's the cynical take, and I know you guys are talking about the semantics of like actual players and what the motivations are.
Yeah.
But I'm like, well, I think that's why I said that thing about like if Magic Arena is really doing well, they don't give a shit about what came out the last 30 years. It's what's going to do good for us tomorrow and what's the future of the game.
Well, I just want to like comment on that though, about Arena for 2 seconds. So I'm sorry, Rich.
Go ahead.
You're 1,000% right, John, and that is where they're concentrating. A lot of the players are just upset about it because Arena is now driving rules and bans and all that kind of stuff because of the way that the program itself is built and how decks are like doing things. For instance, before Arena, if there was a combo or something like that someone they can get off and just continue and continue until the person, was dead, they would just be like, oh yeah, you get this off, cool, scoop, and let's go into game 2. Now, because Arena has to stack everything and move everything around and you have to like do it all manually or all that kind of stuff, there are a lot of those combos that are just getting restricted or getting banned. Like you have more bans since Arena started in Standard than you have had in the past 20 something years since the game is in existence, right? So that's a lot of the up in arms. And I'm sorry for shooting up.
No, it's okay. So I'm wondering, here's a question. What are the ramifications of this on the secondary?
So the secondary, oh yeah, that's going to be an interesting question. So since the secondary market is it's more driven on, well, the secondary market is taking a huge hit, first of all, because of, in my opinion, because of the way that Arena is going now. Because so like if I don't know, I've looked into like astronauts altars and stuff like that because I found a whole bunch of old school, artifacts for Commander. And what they used to be like $30, $40, $50, some of these cards used to be $30, $40, $50. Now they're 10, 11, maybe 7, some of them, because they keep getting reprinted, first of all. And second of all, they're getting love in new newer sets, I guess, like master sets, putting on Arena. So the secondary market is definitely taking a small hit, I think. And not only that, but now that the pros are not going to be building decks and doing things like this deck won this pro league. So now all of a sudden you have a stock, the stock in that card is going up, right? Like the stock market. That doesn't happen anymore. So now you're just going to have to like go off of what's going on in the Arena tournament scene, and the Arena tournament scene is completely, in my opinion, is different than paper, like when you're slinging paper.
Right. No, so I think it moves over more to the collectors, right? Because people that just want cards to want cards. Because since Arena, I have not seen a hit in the secondary market. Actually, it's been perfectly fine. I think what Magic, what I think they'll have to do though is they'll have to start doing more specialty cards like the extended art, the full art.
Oh, they're doing that all the time now.
No, I know.
All the time.
Look, I know. I'm in the secondary market. I scan it all the time. So I was just saying. But they'll have to keep doing that to make the physical cards themselves. So like people can play on the Arena, but then they'll collect their cards. And I think to your point, I think the I don't know. It was a question. I don't know what it's going to do to the secondary market. It may flatten. It's not going to go away. It's not going to go away because there's always going to be people out there that are like, oh, I want my online deck physically. Kind of like what I do with Audible, right? I read a book. I want to go out and buy the book. Not because I want to read the physical book, but I want the physical book.
Right.
I mean, it also could be if local tournaments do get more attention in the sense of like they make more monetary value or specialty cards. So like there are more events instead of, let's say, the Pro Tour, like then you could still see it continue without necessarily taking a hit. As long as the required entry for like the work involved is worthwhile. Like you said, if they do like individual store leagues with a higher value that's offered by Wizards, as opposed to like, having to jump around the tours and go to different conventions on a global scale or whatever, then no, that also could still propel the card market because it's like, all right, I'm competing locally, right. So I have more chance to win money, but I need those better cards,
Right.
So like it's not so the way that you always worked was a lot of the big companies would delegate prices, right?
Bye, Dave. Dave's gonna leave us.
Bye, Dave.
Great discussion, though. Awesome discussion.
Thanks. Have a good day at work, Gabe. So like a lot of these bigger companies were the ones who were delegating prices, and you had like all of their big tournaments too, right? They would all do local qualifiers for their large tournaments, right? So now I think the local tournament scene is going to go to them.
I agree with you. That's actually a good point. I think TCG will get back into companies like TCG will get back into localized tournaments.
Yeah, what's the other one? I keep forgetting the other one's name. It's bigger.
Trolling Toad?
What?
Trolling Toad?
Not Trolling Toad. No. They used to run tournaments all the time. Like you'd have
Star City, are you?
Star City, that's
Star
it.
City,
yeah.
Yes.
Star City, I have a feeling, and this is my hypothesis, they're going to see a gap for this pro league thing, and they're going to hop on it. Because the pros are going to be upset.
Oh, by the way, just because Magic itself is canceling the pro league doesn't mean that they're like a Star City or a couple of the big 3 or 4 don't get together and put something together themselves.
Or even what about like an Ultra Pro? Like Ultra Pro does a lot of accessories for Magic. They might necessarily have a hand in the cards themselves, but they could totally do like a sponsorship thing.
Right.
Well, there's going to be tons of that, man.
Yeah, they could do their own. They could start doing their own tours. I mean, it's really not that difficult to do if what they do is they jump on the regionals, like you said, the local and regionals, and they build their network with local stores, then the local winners can go on to the regionals, which would be at these other sites. Then they can send them off to the bigger conventions. There's plenty of big conventions that they can run Magic tournaments out of.
The only the thing that it makes it harder though is that back in like the original style of pro tour, the pros were able to travel, do all these things, and support themselves on strictly playing Magic, right? Which is, like that's a sport. If you're a pro in a sport, you're able to support yourself, 110% on the sport, right? They basically would, they'd win tournaments and they'd sell cards from those tournaments so that they could fund themselves. And, the bigger tournaments they'd get flown in for, right? Because Magic would be like, oh, you get this and a plane ticket. You get an entry and a plane ticket.
It's like the thing like esports. Like esports is different than like
but that
nationally.
Sorry, John, go ahead. I was just gonna say to Doug, it's like that could still happen with these bigger stores.
I don't know
if they get together. If they start to look, if they start to see a money revenue generation from local and regional, then they could turn around and come together with a bunch of big players to do a sponsorship. What I'm saying here is, with Wizards canceling it, there's an opportunity for somebody on the tour to continue somebody within the network to continue these pro tours as private investors, if that's what they want. Just like where John was going with esports.
Yeah, I think the biggest part of this and the biggest takeaway is if they do that, right?
Yeah, you said do.
If they do it, they no longer have to follow the DCI rule set. So if they see these stupid bans, right, on Arena, and they don't agree with it, they can format their tour themselves.
They could do that, right? That gives them some open ability. But I think what they'll do is they'll wind up picking a format. And listen, go down the path of esports. Okay, now that Magic Arena is digital, it could be incorporated into esports. Not for nothing.
They already do that. They kind of do that. They already have like mini tournaments and stuff.
No, I know, but that's kind of what I'm saying is they could just pull it under the umbrella of esports and add a section to those esports teams that are professional.
Yeah.
So, what do you got in your hand, John? John?
Mute.
No, he's not going to show us. Anyway.
Wait, is it tonight? It is tonight. Oh, God. Did we forget to do things? John, what's in your hand? Yeah. Oh, my God,
it's
John.
a pink dinosaur. That's what I thought it was.
Is it a pink dinosaur and a diaper?
No, it's a niece. I got it from this thing online. It's a gift for my niece.
That's awesome. You score points. That was super awesome. All right. So John, take us home. That's fine, Zynar. It's okay.
What do you say?
What, the fact that we ignored him the whole show?
No, he said sorry he wasn't super active. I kept looking.
Okay.
He just had an early start today. But that's okay. We're gonna
we're wrapping up. I don't think tonight's not a recording week, so my show is not on.
No, but we have a meeting.
But I do know that we will be back again on Wednesday for another episode of Over Coffee, as well as is Marauder this week?
Yes.
Yep. So catch us Tuesday on LITT for Marauder. Doug, is your painting thing this week, or is that still not on at the moment?
I'm packing up my apartment to move, so there is.
I forgot. Right.
Yeah, I'm actually not going to be able to do it for a little while.
Where are you moving to?
The good old Midwest, or Midwest, the West.
The Yucatan.
The Yucatan.
Oh, so you're really not going to come up and help with the
No, I'm going to be coming back. I've looked up plane tickets. They're not expensive. They're not super expensive if I come back on a Thursday night. I'll be back.
Anyway, join us for more shows this week. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, and enjoy the rest of your day.
This is John, Doug, and Rich signing off.
Good morning.
Yep.
Good morning.
I didn't get a good morning out of that guy.
No, because I didn't want to say, like I said, have a good morning. I didn't want to then say it. It would be like redundant.
Redundant.
I was like, I said morning. I can't say morning again. That'd be weird. What do I do?
Oh, good. All right. Have a great day.